She doesn't look surprised to see me. Just tired, as if waiting too long for someone to come. The kitchen smells faintly of burnt coffee and cold beans. A chipped plate sits in front of her, half empty. "Where's Mom?" I ask, though the answer already burns inside me. She slides a torn note across the table. My mother's handwriting loops gracefully, too calm for what it says. "Used your $8,000 for a family vacation. Take care of Grandma." My stomach drops as if the floor gave way beneath me. I reread the words until they blur into nonsense. Every double shift, every aching jaw, every sleepless night flashes back. I sit down before my knees give out. "They left 3 days ago," Grandma whispers, eyes on her hands. Her nails are uneven, the polish chipped. "They said the cruise would help them reconnect." Her voice cracks like old glass. I stare at the note again, anger blooming slow and poisonous. "She used my surgery money," I say, barely breathing. Grandma nods once, her lips pressed thin. "She said you'd understand. That family comes first." The words slice through me. Family comes first, but never mine. The kitchen light flickers, making her look smaller. Behind her, a stack of unpaid bills leans like a tower ready to fall. My eyes catch an empty pillbox on the counter. "Have you been taking your medication?" I ask. She shrugs, a ghost of a smile on her face. "They said they'd refill it when they got back." I push back from the table, the chair scraping loud against the floor. "This isn't right," I mutter. "No, dear," she says softly. "It hasn't been right for a long time." She reaches under the table and pulls out a worn shoebox. "I kept records," she adds almost proudly. Inside are neat stacks of paper, tied with faded string. Bank statements, receipts, notes written in her shaky hand. Each one marked with dates and amounts. Each one proof of something stolen. I run my fingers over them, trembling. How long has this been happening? Her eyes glisten under the harsh light. "Since your mother got control of my account, 2018, I think." I flip through the pages. Withdrawals for groceries, for prescriptions, all too regular. The balances drop lower every month. She leans forward, voice barely a whisper. I tried to tell them, but they called me forgetful. A bitter laugh escapes her throat. I stopped arguing. I just started keeping receipts. My chest tightens as I realize the scope of it all. This isn't one mistake, it's a pattern. A history written in ink and betrayal. I look at her, really look, at the woman who raised me. The woman they left behind to eat cold food in silence. She meets my eyes, and something fierce stirs there. "I knew someone would believe me one day," she says. I swallow hard, feeling the room tilt. "You were right to wait," I whisper. The refrigerator hums louder, filling the silence between us. Outside, snow starts to fall again, soft but relentless. I take the note from the table and fold it carefully. "This ends tonight," I say, my voice steady now. She nods once, like she's been waiting for those words. Together, we open the first envelope. The truth stares back at us in black ink. Morning light creeps through the curtains, pale and cold. I barely slept, the numbers from last night burning behind my eyes. Grandma sits at the table again, sorting through envelopes with steady hands. Every motion feels rehearsed, like she's done this 1,000 times. "I'll call the bank," I say, voice hoarse from exhaustion. She nods, her expression unreadable. I dial the number, explaining what I've found. The automated voice loops endlessly, each option colder than the last. When a real person finally answers, I can barely speak. Unauthorized withdrawals, fraud, my mother's name on every slip. They promise to investigate, but their tone holds no comfort. I hang up, staring at the phone as if it might apologize. A message pings. It's from Lynn, my cousin's wife. "Can we talk? Not in the family group chat." I hesitate, then call her. Her voice shakes. I shouldn't be saying this, but I can't keep quiet. My pulse quickens. "What do you mean?" "They planned it. The cruise, the money, everything, I have proof. Static fills the line before she continues. I recorded them laughing about using your surgery fund. They said you'd forgive them. The words sting more than I expect. Forgive them, the same script they've always used. Can you send it to me? I whisper. A moment later, my phone buzzes again. The audio begins with laughter, familiar and cruel. My mother's voice, bright as a blade. She won't fight us, she never does. I end the recording, hands trembling so hard I almost drop the phone. Grandma watches silently, her eyes full of something between sorrow and vindication. They used me too, she says, for years. I sit beside her, pulling the shoebox closer. We're not letting them get away with this. Her thin lips press together in quiet agreement. Then we'll need help, she murmurs. She rummages through her purse, pulling out a frayed business card. Deborah Tran, attorney. She helped my friend when her son stole her pension. I call the number before doubt can creep in. 3 rings, a calm voice answers. I explain everything, the theft, the neglect, the evidence. She listens without interrupting. Finally, she says, this qualifies as elder financial abuse. I'll take your case. For the first time in days, I exhale fully. We'll start with documentation, she continues. Keep everything, every receipt matters. After I hang up, the kitchen feels lighter somehow. Not safe, but less hopeless. I open my laptop, creating a new spreadsheet. Columns for dates, amounts, notes. Rows for every stolen dollar, every broken promise. Grandma watches me work, a faint smile tugging at her lips. You always were meticulous, she says softly. I learned from you, I reply. Outside, snow drifts past the window like falling ash. The house feels warmer now, the hum of purpose spreading through it. Grandma pulls a blanket around her shoulders. What happens next? She asks. I look at the screen, where her losses now form a pattern of truth. Next we fight back, I tell her. Her eyes glint in the dim light, the spark of defiance reignited. For the first time in years, she doesn't look small. She looks ready. And so am I. Days blur together as winter deepens around us. Grandma and I move through the house like quiet shadows. The shoebox of records grows into folders, binders, and neat stacks of proof. Every page smells faintly of dust and ink, like old secrets resurfacing. I spend hours typing data into the spreadsheet. Dates, amounts, notes, patterns, all there in black and white. Each line feels like a confession, carved into stone. Grandma sits across from me, sorting bills with trembling hands. She colors each section with sticky notes, yellow for small lies, red for big ones. They thought I wouldn't notice, she murmurs. Her voice is soft but steady. I glance up, watching her reclaim pieces of herself with every sheet she files. Outside, the snow falls heavier now, muffling the world. Inside, we plan. I print the email from the attorney, outlining next steps. Collect testimonies, record communication, file a formal complaint. Simple, yet monumental. I'll talk to Lynn again, I say. Maybe she can testify. Grandma nods. She's braver than she thinks. Later that night, the phone buzzes again. A photo notification appears, my mother's post from the cruise. Her face glows with artificial joy, sunlight bouncing off turquoise water. Caption, family time is priceless. I feel something sharp twist inside me. Grandma notices. Don't look at it, she says gently. But I can't help it. The image feels like mockery. While she smiles under Mediterranean skis, Grandma eats canned soup in silence. I close the app, my fingers shaking. This has to stop, I whisper. It will, she replies, voice calm as a prayer. That night, I pack her suitcase. She'll move in with me until this is over. The house creaks around us, reluctant to let go of its ghosts. Grandma pauses in her bedroom doorway, staring at a framed photo. A younger version of my mother stands beside her, both smiling. She takes the photo down and tucks it between folded sweaters. I need to remember who she was, she says quietly. I nod, unsure if she means forgiveness or mourning. By morning, the car is loaded with boxes of evidence. Her quilted robe draped over the seat beside her. We drive away without looking back. My apartment is small, but warm. I set up her medications, her favorite tea mug, her chair by the window. She runs a hand along the table and smiles faintly. It feels safe here, she says. For the first time, I believe her. Later, I call Deborah again. She tells me a social worker will visit soon to document the neglect. Keep building your file, she advises. Truth is patient but relentless. After we hang up, I stand at the window watching the snow melt. For years, I thought silence kept peace. Now I know it only fed the rot. Grandma hums softly from the other room, folding papers into order. Each crease sounds like a promise being made. We are not victims anymore. We are preparing for war. The day they return feels heavier than winter itself. Clouds hang low over the driveway as the engine hums outside. Through the blinds, I see them, smiling, sunburned, carrying souvenirs. My mother's laughter cuts through the cold air like a knife. Let's make this quick, I tell Grandma, setting the recorder on the table. She nods, adjusting her blouse, her hands trembling but sure. Attorney Deborah sits beside us, calm as stone. Her briefcase rests open, full of papers and proof. The front door opens without knocking. Sweetheart, Mom sings, arms outstretched, pretending nothing's wrong. Behind her, my stepfather grins stiffly, eyes darting to the lawyer. Brenda and Hi follow, each carrying a gift bag wrapped in gold paper. Look what we brought from Italy, Brenda chirps, voice too bright. No one moves. Please sit, I say. My voice sounds steadier than I feel. They shuffle awkwardly into their seats, glancing at each other. What is this? Mom asks, her smile thinning. Deborah clicks her pen, an opportunity to tell the truth. I press play on the recorder. Lynn's voice fills the room, trembling but clear. They planned it weeks before, said I would never fight them. A beat of silence follows. Color drains from Mom's face. Richard leans forward. You can't use that, it's family business. Family business, I repeat, voice rising. Leaving Grandma without medicine, stealing my surgery money. He slams his palm on the table. Watch your tone. Deborah's tone slices through the tension. Mr. Nguyen, under state law, financial exploitation of an elder is a felony. She opens the folder and slides documents across the table. Bank statements, receipts, withdrawal slips, all bearing their names. Brenda's eyes dart to the door. That could have been anyone, she mutters. I click to the next slide on my laptop. Photos of Grandma, alone, unwashed, surrounded by unpaid bills. Social service reports, medical neglect. The silence grows unbearable. Mom's mascara begins to smear. We did our best, she whispers. You don't understand the pressure. You chose convenience over care, I reply. There's a difference. Deborah clears her throat. We're not here to argue. You have 10 days. She places a document in front of them. Repay $12,600 or face legal action. Richard scoffs. You wouldn't dare. Try me, I say, sliding the paper closer. He looks at Grandma, expecting her to waver. But she meets his gaze without fear. I kept every receipt, she says quietly. 40 years worth. The room seems to shrink around us. Brenda finally grabs the pen. Fine, we'll pay, she mutters, signing her name. One by one, the others follow. Their signatures look like surrender. When it's done, I stand and offer my arm to Grandma. Let's go home, I tell her. Outside, the air smells of snow and freedom. Behind us, Mom calls out my name, voice cracking. I don't turn around. Some goodbyes don't need words. Only silence and the sound of a door closing for good. 8 days pass before the first payment arrives. $800, a drop in an ocean of theft. The deadline looms, and my phone won't stop buzzing. Messages from Mom, from Brenda, from unknown numbers begging for mercy. They send old photos, birthday cakes, family picnics, smiling lies. Each image feels like a trap, disguised as love. Remember who we are, one text reads. I delete it without replying. At the lab, Thomas notices my shaking hands. Don't let them guilt you, he says quietly. You've done nothing wrong. I nod, though the ache behind my eyes won't fade. That afternoon, a courier drops a manila envelope at reception. Inside are more photos, Mom holding my hand at kindergarten. Brenda hugging me at the lake, Hi grinning behind a barbecue grill. A sticky note attached reads, We're still family. I tear it in half. The phone rings again, Richard's voice, low and threatening. Think carefully, Mai. You destroy us, you destroy yourself. I hang up before he can finish. That night, I find Hai waiting by my car in the hospital parking lot. Let's talk, he says, hands buried in his jacket pockets. I have nothing to say, I reply, unlocking the door. He blocks my path. We'll fix it, I swear, just give us more time. I laugh, the sound hollow. You've had years. Grandma doesn't have time left to lose. His face hardens. You think court will make you happy? No, I say, but it'll make us free. I leave him standing in the snow. The next morning, Grandma lays out her clothes for court. Her best blouse, the pearl earring she hasn't worn in decades. You sure you're ready? I ask. She smiles faintly. I was ready the moment they left me. We walk into the courthouse together. Inside, fluorescent lights hum above a room heavy with history. Mom sits at the defense table, mascara flawless again. Brenda avoids my eyes. Richard whispers something to his lawyer. Lynn sits behind us, clutching her phone, ready to testify. When the judge enters, everyone stands. The case begins with documents, 40 years of proof laid bare. Deborah speaks clearly, methodically, leaving no detail untouched. Every stolen dollar, every false signature, every lie. Then comes Lynn's recording, her voice trembling but steady. They laughed about it, she says, said Mai would forgive them again. The courtroom falls silent. Mom's hands tremble. Richard stares at the floor. The judge's voice is firm, almost gentle. This court finds sufficient evidence of elder financial abuse. She lists the consequences like a litany of justice. Full repayment with interest. Court-appointed financial oversight. Restraining order against Richard. Mandatory education on exploitation for all defendants. The gavel cracks against the wood, final and sharp. I reach for Grandma's hand. Her fingers are warm, steady, alive. Outside, reporters gather, shouting questions we ignore. We walk past them into the cold sunlight. Was it worth it? She asks softly. I look at her, at the lines of strength around her eyes. Yes, I say, because now they can't hurt us anymore. 6 months later, spring sunlight spills across the new apartment. The walls are pale yellow, warm like something reborn. The plants on the windowsill stretch toward the light. Grandma hums softly as she arranges pressed flowers in an album. Her hair, silver and soft, shines under the morning glow. The house smells of coffee and basil. Our kitchen table, once covered in evidence, now holds breakfast plates. No papers, no arguments, just peace. I water the herbs slowly, counting the drops. Each one feels like a heartbeat, returning after too long in silence. My phone vibrates, another message from Brenda. I'm seeing a therapist. Maybe we can talk someday. I stare at it, then place the phone face down. Boundaries are quiet walls that keep the air clean. I've learned to build them without guilt. Grandma appears in the doorway, wearing her lavender cardigan. The ladies at the center want me to teach origami next week, she says. That's wonderful. I reply, smiling for real this time. She grins, proud and a little shy. Her eyes hold none of the fog they once carried. The woman who was forgotten has become a teacher again. We eat breakfast together, scrambled eggs, toast, and laughter. Outside, children chase bubbles along the street. The world feels ordinary, which somehow makes it miraculous. Later, attorney Deborah visits with final paperwork. The trust is secure now, she says, signing the last document. Your grandmother's funds are fully protected. I thank her, though words seem too small. When she leaves, Grandma reaches across the table. We did it, she whispers, without hate. I nod because she's right. Justice wasn't revenge, it was release. In the evenings, Thomas sometimes joins us for dinner. His laugh fills the quiet corners that used to echo. Barbara from next door brings banana bread and gossip. The world, once cruel and cold, now feels full again. On the bulletin board hang 2 photos. Grandma leading her craft class, and me holding my promotion letter. Laboratory supervisor. The title still feels unreal on my tongue. The raise means weekend trips, art museums, and no more fear. We talk about visiting St. Louis to see the impressionist she loves. Next month, I promise, we'll make a whole day of it. She nods, eyes bright as a girl. Evening drifts in, gentle and pink. We sit on the balcony, wrapped in quilts, watching the sky blush. The air smells of rain and possibility. Grandma breaks the silence first. Why didn't you just leave that night when you found the note? I think for a moment before answering. Because I remembered who I was before they made me forget. Her smile deepens, slow and knowing. For the first time, she says, I don't feel like a burden. I reach for her hand, the lines of her palm etched with strength. Neither do I whisper. Below us, the city hums softly, alive with second chances. Inside, our photo album waits, filled with faces that stayed, not those who left. Family, I've learned, isn't blood. It's the people who choose to see you and never look away. Christmas Eve returns with quiet grace. Snow drifts past the balcony, soft as memory. Inside, the table glows beneath candlelight and laughter. Thomas brings his pecan pie, still warm from the oven. Barbara strings white lights across the window frame. Grandma's china shines, rescued from the old house. Pastor James bows his head and says grace. For the courage to begin again, we give thanks. His words settle like snowflakes on open hearts. I look around the table, faces bright with simple joy. No guilt, no pretending, just people who stayed. After dinner, Grandma and I step outside. The swing creaks as we settle into its rhythm. Stars scatter across the dark sky like promises kept. She reaches over, her hand resting against my cheek. The scar beneath her fingers no longer aches. Feels like peace, she says softly. I nod, eyes on the sky. For the first time, it really does. The wind moves through the trees, gentle and sure. We rock in silence, side by side. No words left to fill the space. Only the quiet knowing, we made it home at last.